My name is Dheeraj Sinha. I am author of a book called Consumer Intent Inside Daily My Wallet. My primary area of work has been advertising and consumer and brands. Yeah. As Shah Rukh Khan said, my name is Khan. I'm not a terrorist, and I have a confession to make that I'm a Bihari, and I'm proud to be one, right? And I'm a Bihari, and I've never written a UPSC examination. Over a period of time, Bihar as a state has got characterized, right, by several kinds of jokes, by several kinds of stories, to the extent that when I first got the invitation mail for this project, it said, Unplugging Bihar, and I sort of rejected it, saying it must be one of the other, those Bihar joke chain mails going around, and there's no point opening this mail and looking at it. But being a Bihari, I think my story today is going to be more anecdotal than coming much more from macro points. And before I talk about a new Bihar, I have to talk about what it means to be a Bihari really, right? And all through my childhood, right, my parents and all the uncles that I grew up with kept saying this one thing, कि जूता चाहे किसी भी brand का हो, but polished cherry blossom का लगना चाहिए. Right? So the whole idea was that no matter how talented you are, no matter how intelligent you are, no matter how much education that you get in Bihar, you have to go to a Delhi or a Mumbai to get that polish so that you can clear an examination or clear an IIT or clear a medical test, right? And then you heard sort of your uncles and fathers and you landed up in Delhi University. And there was a popular song in Delhi University, which I don't remember the full song, but it ended with a line which said that UPSC karte karte life mein ho gaye fail. Yeah. I mean, the whole point being there that over a period of time, through about 3-4 sort of decades, what has been stressed in being a Bihari is this whole sense of personal redemption. There is very little you can do about the environment, but you can sure as hell escape this environment to get out of Bihar, to get into a Delhi or a Bombay or even United States and make a career and make a life of yourself. And then you went out and you met lots of Biharis in Delhi, in Mumbai, in United States of America, and you ask them, where are you from? And they say, actually I'm from Delhi, but you probe them a little more and say, really I'm from Bihar, right? So it almost became an identity that nobody pretty much wanted to own, right? So that's what the whole story came to be, a land of lawlessness. And I remember when I used to come back from hostels and we used to be going back home, and my friends from other states would ask that when you get down on Patna station, do you see people moving around with guns? So that was the perception of Bihar as a state. A state which had brilliant individuals, but backward community, which was the largest supplier of unskilled labor. A state which was resource rich, but economically poor. And in some sense, got characterized by having an embarrassing sense of identity. Yeah. So that was then, but the state is coming out of the shadows. Very definitely the fact that we've all come here to discuss how Bihar is progressing and how Bihar is emerging in a huge way is a symbol of how Bihar is coming up today. And my first personal experience of this change was in 2009, right? And that's my village in Bihar. It's called Mamrejpur. It's about 2 hours from Patna. It's in a district called Vaishali. And I don't know if you can spot a little aberration in that picture of some village huts and some dilapidated bricks. And this is what I saw in 2009 in my village, right? Which had no power, no electricity. But suddenly there's some 10 solar powered lamps which has come up, right? And that to my mind was the first symbol of a state sort of churning, right? A state changing itself. And you went to Patna and you heard stories of law being sort of sorted out, incidents of lawlessness getting lower, huge amount of construction of roads, state highways, real estate prices going up, industries being set up, and that was the beginning of the turnaround of this 100 million population state. And you went further and you saw, and these are just symbols of how aspiration in Bihar, and these are pictures from rural Bihar. So something called as beauty mobile downloading, right? And it's like a small shack where you'll have pan and bidi being sold. But what they do is they load your mobile phone with entertainment and other value-added services that you can't otherwise download because you don't have a computer in those parts of the town, right? But if you look at any numbers, I mean, number of people owning mobile phones, you look at Mercedes setting up shop in Bihar, you go through a Patna, lots of brands like Lee and Puma and all of that. So obviously the change is palpable. The consumerism which is rising is absolutely palpable. And there's change in taste, right? I do visit China quite often, and I haven't seen so much Chinese chow mein in China as I've seen in the shacks in Bihar, right? So Khushbu Diwana chow mein shop. The point here is that we typically feel that this whole bottom of the pyramid strategy needs us to strip down products and services to a certain cost. And we strip it so much that it goes beyond the aspiration of the emerging markets. The point to be noted here is that the bottom of the pyramid also wants to be top in status, right? Their desires, their aspirations are pretty similar, if not bigger, if not better, than what gets beamed into our homes through the same television that both we and them are watching today, right? So the size of desire, the size of ambition, the size of what they want is absolutely as same as what you and I would. And again, another symbol of the state sort of coming out of its own shadows. Finally, words of Biharis like Narvasana, which was a bit of a joke till recently, now finds a pride of place in the Bihari dictionary, which is doing the rounds on a Facebook page. So while it can be sort of rejected as a small joke, but it's a symbol of a state finding confidence in itself, symbol of a state coming out of its own shadows and celebrating what it means to be a Bihari. And there are several sort of stories of individual pursuits. This gentleman here, Ram Prasad, on the right, is now a catering contractor, and he does contracts across villages in Bihar. And he actually started as a child labor, right? And he told me that the first time he knew what a chicken is when he was given a contract at the age of 25 to create a chicken dish. And he came to Patna to figure out how really to cook a chicken dish. And today he runs a full-fledged catering business. He says he can buy a car, doesn't want to buy a car because he wants to walk, because it keeps him healthy. Has 2 daughters, 1 son. They all are studying beyond graduation, wanting to crack IIT. Yeah? And obviously, if all that anecdotal story of what's changing in Bihar is true, then Bihar is definitely making headlines across, not just in Indian newspapers, but international newspapers for its growth. But more than newspaper headlines, what's heartening is that now when you search on Bihar, you see blogging on Bihar with words like progressive Bihar, right? So that's the distance that the state seems to have sort of come. But it's not all celebration, to my mind, about Bihar. I think it's just the beginning. It's a big flip for a state which pretty much lived in darkness for about good 6 decades. But it's too early for us to begin to celebrate. I mean, there can be enough data that can be thrown, but the truth is that the absolute per capita income in Bihar is still 1/3 of our national average, right? The population density is on rise, and it's rising at a rate much higher than our national average, right? So while we do not want to take away from the big flip, from the big starting which has been made, but it's too early to begin to celebrate. So it's a definite upswing, but not so soon for celebration. I think what we need to be aware of is that this is the moment. If we let this moment go, then this may not come back ever again for Bihar. And to my mind, what has started in Bihar is a fantastic support by the government, which has created a state of law and order, which is absolutely required for any development to happen. There are 2 other critical elements of any revolution like this which still need to happen for Bihar. One is the people of Bihar getting up and wanting to change their own destiny. The whole idea of being a Bihari needs to change. No revolution like this will ever be complete unless people become a part of it. And second is the role of business and the role of brand in catalyzing, in provoking that revolution. So to my mind, it's only the first big criteria, and it's a big criteria to be met, has been met, but we still need to go 2 more legs on that. And at this stage, I want to share an international case study, and this is not too old actually, this is last year Cannes-winning work, where Levi's as a brand has partnered with Braddock, which is a city in the United States of America, to rebuild the city. Right? Braddock was a steel center, and about 20,000 people used to live in that city. The steel plant went down, and the city sort of really broke down. And with the help of the mayor and the brand, the whole city is being rebuilt. It's a fascinating story, but a big learning for business and brands and marketing of how business and people and revolution can go hand in hand. Can you please play the video?
In the midst of the 2009 recession, Levi's planned to launch a new collection of workwear. To promote and involve people in this new collection, Levi's decided it would actually put its workwear to work. The place to do this was an old, struggling steel town with a mayor dedicated to reinventing and rebuilding. The town was Braddock, Pennsylvania.
My name is John Fetterman. I didn't grow up with dreams of aspiring to be mayor of the poorest town in Pennsylvania, that's for sure. But I'm really glad that's how it worked out.
With Mayor Fetterman, Levi's agreed to help with the renovation of the Braddock Community Center, the doubling in size of the Braddock Urban Farm, and the safeguarding of the nation's first Carnegie Library. Levi's then shot and created all its communication around its workwear collection in Braddock with the workers of Braddock. The campaign launched with a film that featured the town of Braddock and its revival, offering words of optimism and opportunity.
A long time ago, things got broken here. People got sad and left. Maybe the world breaks on purpose, so we can have work to do.
The campaign also featured magazine ads and billboards. Portraits were matched with deconstructed product shots. Additionally, in cooperation with the Independent Film Channel, Levi's made a series of documentaries that dove deeper into the stories of Braddock, along with a long-format documentary that aired on the Sundance and IFC channels. Online, Levi's showcased the Braddock documentaries, each ending with a way for people to get involved. With all the publicity around Levi's work in Braddock, the word spread quickly as many people contributed and brought commerce to Braddock through specially created classified ads for Braddock businesses, real estate, and services. The collaboration with Mayor Fetterman and Braddock demonstrates the positive role of brands in society. For Levi's, the work was a great opportunity to put its clothing to work as an example of progress and personal responsibility.
People think there aren't frontiers anymore. They can't see how frontiers are all around us.
So that's really the point, to say that while a lot of developments happen, what is required is participation by people in a huge way. What's required is the participation by business and brands in a huge way. And therefore, a big task to my mind for Bihar is to awaken its people's potential, right? In some sense, it's a state which has tremendous amount of talent, but the talent which has gone out, right? It's a collection of brilliant individuals, all of them, a lot of them who, for instance, have taken personal parachutes of IIT and IIM and MBAs and gone out and not added back to the community in the way that ideally they should have. The whole syndrome of blaming the system, that the system is not right, somebody will come and change my plight, and I will sit and wait for the system to correct itself. And while Narega is a far successful initiative of the government, but in some sense it puts people on certain reliance, right? Why wait for somebody else to come and change your plight? What's your contribution to changing the plight of your own self, right? And the whole low social respect for entrepreneurship as a community, right? So everybody is going after government job even in today's times. There is a limit to which government can generate jobs. unless the community comes back, unless entrepreneurship comes back, unless people begin to add back value to the GDP, the state is not going to become what it really wants to become. And therefore what it means in rather very simplistic term is to rebrand or change the meaning of what it means to be a Bihari. Right? The whole meaning system of Bihari, which in some way got characterized by helplessness, by escapism, that the only way you can build a career or earn a livelihood is by getting away from the state. And this whole sense of downtroddenness needs to get flipped in today's environment to convert it to become about enterprise, about determination, and about a sense of uprising, of things which are changing. And therefore the approach for brands and businesses need to be more of participation rather than saying, you know what, there's such a huge market out there, let's open shops, let's skim the market and get out. Right? What Bihar needs today is a sense of going there, partnering, building businesses, building activities, and provoking the whole growth story and being part of people's growth story rather than just going out and selling as a consumption sort of an opportunity. And therefore, what I'm making is a case for people, brand, and government partnership so that the real opportunity of Bihar comes up and gets sort of forefront. So in sum, those are 4 or 5 points I'm trying to make, is that definite upswing in Bihar, but not so soon to celebrate. There are tastes which are changing, desire is changing, the size of ambition is changing in a dramatic way. But there is need for marketers to partner and provoke the growth story, not just leverage the story. And need to make the revolution a people's revolution. Only then will it become sustainable and self-fulfilling and changing the whole meaning system of what it means to be a Bihari so that people wear it as a badge with pride. And that's my last point, to say that there is a golden hen waiting there, but we need to nurture it and be patient about it, not have an approach of killing it and having it for dinner tonight. Yeah? Thank you.